we'll get it edited out if there's something you don't want in it. Or
no, I won't say. If there, I honestly, I know what I don't want to say. It just won't come out of my mouth, hopefully.
Okay, cool. And we'll just go with the flow. I've got a few questions.
Okay.
That I've compiled, and hopefully we'll be ready to go and then press record. And we're away, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's working. Hey, right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, lovely.
I am here with a lovely lady called Sarah Cutting.
Yes.
But also known as
FizzySnood.
FizzySnood, which absolutely, totally intrigued me when I heard that. So I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. I'll give a little blurb to my listeners, is that I first saw Sarah. Do you prefer Sarah or
Snood?
Snood, okay, I'll call you Snood. Snood at TEDx last year in Brighton. And I heard your amazing story. I must admit, I saw you in the break before some of the, because you were last on, weren't you? You were last on, so I saw you and I thought, cool hair. That's the first thing I thought when I saw you.
Amazing.
And I didn't know you were one of the speakers, and because I was lucky enough to be in the VIP bit, because I've got a couple of friends who've done Brighton TEDx, so they all get to go VIP every year. And then you came on and you spoke, and I was literally blown away. And then when I was going to do my podcast, I thought, my niece said to me, make a list of all the people you want to interview. And I said, oh, there was this amazing lady at TEDx, and I really would love to get her on. And it was you, Snood.
So sweet.
That's
so kind.
No, it's fine. You just
very
inspired me.
humbled. I'm very humbled
you
that anyone
completely blew me away that day, inspired me. And there was about 16 amazing speakers, but I think at the end of the day it would have been easy just to go home and not bother, wouldn't it? When you're last on, but I was just like, and I stayed right to the end, and I'd heard 15 amazing speakers, but actually you really blew me away. So I was just like, oh my God, you just looked amazing, your story was amazing, and I came home and I went on Instagram, and who's this FizzySnood? I need to know more about her.
Sweet.
So yeah, when I was compiling my list, you were on it. So
that's so kind, because I think I have mentioned to you before that I got off stage and cried.
Oh.
But anyway,
that's build up. No, but we will talk about TEDx if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
But maybe I could allow you to do a little bit of an introduction to who is FizzySnood and compared to Sarah Cutting maybe, and how does that all work, and who are you?
Well, first of all, the name FizzySnood. The Snoods are little pixies that live behind the yew trees at my parents' house.
Right, okay.
And my niece Sammy discovered those about 25 years ago, and she presented them to me.
Right.
Oh, amazing. And she pronounced that I was Queen of the Snoods.
Okay.
And I decided that, well, obviously being the Queen of the Snoods, one has to drink a lot of fizz.
We are going to get on so well.
And then what happened was when email was first came out, do you remember we all had to sort of find a really imaginative kind of handle? So I
don't remember that.
I do. I'm probably older than you.
No, I don't think so.
And I came up with FizzySnood at whatever, gmail.com or Hotmail or whatever it was at the time.
A great username, yeah.
And Snood sort of became my nickname. FizzySnood was my email address. And then when I was diagnosed with cancer, and I sort of decided I was going to go public and try and raise some money and awareness and much longer story. I was talking to friends about it, and they just said, well, just be FizzySnood, just be who you already are. You don't have to be anything different or anyone different. So it's quite random, but I like it because people were like curious, and it's an inn. It's a really nice inn, and it's a really lovely story for me, and I love the Snoods. Whoever they may be.
Whoever they may be. They can magical.
They can be whoever you want them to be.
But it's a great story, because I didn't know whether it was something you created around the cancer. No. But that's really amazing, because it goes back much longer, much deeper, and there's much more meaning to it.
And what's really amazing about that as well for me is the yew trees were really significant in our childhood. Because we used to play behind the yew trees. They're sort of carved out behind the back. And there's something very magical, and they've got great stature. And actually some of the drugs that I had for my cancer treatment were derived from the yew tree.
Oh, really? Okay.
And on my arm, where all the veins have been collapsed, it kind of looks like a branch of a tree. So there's sort of some kind of, I don't know, there's something, you know, the very thing that's very poisonous that could have poisoned me as a kid, you know, don't eat the berries, was one of the things that actually then went on to save my life.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so there is a kind of like a really lovely magic around the yew trees and the snoods and the so yeah, I mean, I like to make up these stories.
That's amazing. Do you ever write any of it down? Because it sounds like you've got an amazing imagination. And
I've done little bits and pieces, not really. I don't. I'm more of a talker.
I'm a talker.
I'm more of a talker than I'm a writer. I feel like if someone wants to be a ghostwriter, then crack on. I'd love it because
just dictate it though. Can you just literally?
Yeah. I mean,
it's so easy.
Like, I will tell stories very easily to young children, or I've got there's a little bit where I sort of made some little images of what I imagine like the snoods to be and what they are and how they help people and stuff. And that was before I had cancer. With these little, and what they'd do is they'd hear the signal of people who were in distress. Yeah. And the snoods would come out. There's Pushka Bob. Don't eat the Pushka Bob's a cat.
There's a cat, everybody. We're not just talking to imaginary snoods.
Oh yeah.
There's a cat. There is a cat.
Darling.
He's here now.
It's a she.
Come to say.
Just say.
She. Sorry.
Pushka Bob. I know the name is a little bit. It's a bit confusing.
I've got a dog. Or we used to have a dog that's called Sid, and it's a girl. So you know.
Anyway, so yeah, brilliant. The snoods have always been like these little pixies that, or elves, or fairies, or whatever you want them to be, that help people who are in distress or sad, and I think that comes a lot from because I've suffered with depression and anxiety all through my life, so I've kind of like found little sort of I find those sort of little things of comfort.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that about you. I mean, I obviously did a little bit of research into you and your background.
I think most people suffer at some level, don't they?
Yeah, God, yeah.
I mean, I have to assume that because...
Well, no, I think we all... You know, there's so much around mental health and stuff these days.
Especially today.
Oh, it's just been... Yeah, there's just stuff, really isn't there? Tough, just everywhere. And I know people that suffer with anxiety. I've had certainly in my younger years, I had depression in my early 20s. And it's those things that you don't talk about, isn't it? Or it was. I mean, I think it's getting a little bit better now, slowly. But it's one of those things that you didn't want anyone to know. You felt ashamed, embarrassed. It's fine, Pushka Bob, you crack on.
And I think that there is, I mean, I think that one of the really good things about, I used to hate social media. I was really anti-social media. Is she all right?
She's fine.
Are you sure I can lock her away?
It's fine.
Sorry.
No, carry on, it doesn't matter. This is real life.
She's so darling. Anyway, she's the one thing, the living creature that's really been with me all these years and stayed by my side. And
wow,
she's amazing.
That's incredible, isn't it? Animals as well, because I just recently lost my dog, and he wasn't quite 10, so that was like about 8 days ago. Yeah, that's hard, so hard.
So soon.
Yeah, so hard. So we won't talk about that, otherwise I'll be crying.
Okay.
It'll be all about me.
That's
and
all
this
right.
is meant to be all about you.
No, but it can be about you. Okay.
But I know, I totally get what you mean with animals in terms of they're just there, aren't they? Yeah. They're just kind of there, and like now he's not there. The pain is just.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's just been incredible.
I think we're starting to recognise more now the impact of the death of a pet has on us, and I think it's cast aside. I think it's been cast aside. But you know, I worked 2 days with Arca Funerals, funeral directors, and I think we're just we talk about this, and it's kind of like, gosh, it's a massive thing for a pet to die.
It is. I mean, this podcast isn't about me, but it's about us as human beings. It's about mindset. It's about how we cope and how we get through life. And I think for me, like I'm going through a divorce, so last year was a really dark year for me. And I have aspirations to go and speak and coach and help thousands of people. And so driving and pushing yourself to do that is quite hard on its own. Going through a separation, as you all know, is difficult. My father is dying from cancer, sadly. And my dog, died 8 days ago. So,
could it be any more shit?
Yeah, probably, but it feels really shit. Yeah. It feels really, really... And one thing that I've noticed, so I've been getting stronger, I'm resilient, I've been through a lot of shit in my life, as most people have. Everyone's got a story, right? But one thing I noticed about, and you saying about making people more aware of how animals impact your life. Losing Teddy, literally taking me right back to where I was like last year. You know, really dark and in moments, you know, like, I'm much better today. Don't worry.
Well, you've showed up, which is extraordinary.
No,
you know,
but
and I think that's what you have to kind of do.
Oh yeah, Sunday.
Weekends are bad, right? Don't you think?
And I find with the evenings
are
are hard. Like, like in the evening, he would just come and jump on the bed with me, snuggle up, stick his butt into me. You know, annoying as it was, I miss it now. Yeah. And you know, you go in the door and they run to meet you or whatever. It's all of those things. And I've lost pets before, but actually this is the hardest. And I think it's just because when you've got other things going on, you've got multi-layers of shit going on. Yeah. Him going, like I say, on Saturday, I love Park1. I did not fucking want to run.
Did you do it?
I did go.
Yeah, well done.
I did go, but I didn't want to go. But the point I was trying to make was what you were saying around how animals help us, but actually, you know, people become more aware about the loss when they're gone, and how, you know, that emptiness and that void. Because my daughter's messaging me, and she I was trying to explain to her, and she said, no, Mama, I get it, because they're just always there, aren't they? And it's like, yeah, they are.
They're always there. And it's really unconditional as well. I mean, I know she's obviously very dependent on me for food, and obviously that's a huge thing. But she sits at that window, and when if it's anyone else walking by, she doesn't. If she sees me, she's there, and she just waits by the door.
Just know.
It's amazing. And I would be, I mean, she's not going to die, basically.
No, I thought that of Teddy. No. I was just like, no, he's not going to die. He's got a good 4 or 5 years left in him.
No.
And it's hit me hard. I'm not going to lie.
How did he die?
He got a thing. He's had this horrible cough thing going on for ages, and then he started to lose some weight. Got muscle wastage. Just got a thing called myositis, which is muscle wastage, and you can treat it with steroids and things like that. So he had all of that, but the cough just never would go, and then they just they kept giving him steroids and antibiotics and things like that, and then his breathing he started to struggle. So I took him back, and they were like, oh, has he got a heart problem? Has he ever had any heart? And I'm like, no, he's been fine. This was literally not 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. So he hasn't been in the best of health, but he's been all right. He's eating, he's running, but then he stopped eating for 3 days, and I thought, no, I've got to take him. Started to struggle with the breathe, so his heart, basically he started having heart failure, and his liver literally enlarged massively, and they said, oh, you know, got an enlarged liver, he's got heart arrhythmia. They kept me and gave him some oxygen and drugs and things, and then I took him home, and then literally, the drugs seemed to help for a couple of days actually. I thought, oh, okay, yeah. And then they talked about cardiologists and things like that, but see how he is. And then a week ago, last Saturday, he was just like all day, like just really breathing fast. So I just took him back, and I said, look, I called him, I said, look, I'm going to have to bring him in. I can't, you know, he's struggling to breathe, and it's really fast. And then I took him in, and they just said, look, you know, he's got heart failure. We can give him, you know, some drugs. It'll give him 2 or 3 weeks maybe, but it's not going to change the situation. And I had him put down on that Saturday night because the thing is if I'd have said give him the drugs, I'm doing that for me, I'm not doing that for him.
And you probably know, I think anybody that I've spoken to that's been in this kind of situation, you know when you have to do it, you know when you have to let them go, and it is tough. But I think, and I've known quite a few people recently that have, sadly, their dogs have died, and they've known at the point where you just can't.
And with him,
put them through
it's like I said to the vet, you know, if I did that, if I give him drugs and I take him home, that's about me. That's not about him. And they gave him a sedative. Said, I'll give him a sedative, and he can just have a little lie down with you, and then I'll come back and give him the actual drug to put him to sleep. So, you know, you have a few minutes with him. So he started to lie down and get really sleepy.
Oh no.
And then
were you with someone?
No, I went on my own.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I went on my own. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. I was absolutely beside myself. And then the vet came in, and Teddy was still sort of awake. And then literally he died in front of the vet and I.
Without the injection?
And the vet said, if you ever wanted an answer that you did the right thing, that's the answer. He said, because his heart couldn't even cope with the sedative, let alone the other drug. So yeah.
Teddy.
I mean, I don't know how I've got through all that and not cried, because I literally have cried myself every night to sleep every night since it happened.
I'm not surprised.
It's just devastating
I'm so
loss.
sorry.
No,
really tough.
Yeah, it is. And just, I don't even know how we got on this subject. This is
animals.
And loss and the importance of them. And no doubt for you, maybe we'll take a bit of a leap now and go, forward in your life. Because I do want to talk to you about some other things, but obviously the cat was really important to you during your cancer treatment, because your TEDx was about that. Your Facebook and Instagram is all about your cancer and your experience of that, and how you've addressed it. This is what's shone out for me. Just so fucking brave, just so heroic, and just like, I'm gonna bloody take this shit on, and I'm just gonna go at it, and rather than, do you know what I mean? I don't know even how to put it into words, but you just really took it by the bull by the horn. So maybe start at the beginning and when it all happened. And
so I guess when I first found the lump in my breast, I think I knew straight away. It was so weird.
Really?
I was just like, Did
you check regularly, or was it just random?
It was purely random. And what had happened, thankfully, I was a builder and I used to get home dusty every night. And I'd actually started to get this really strange rash under my arms. And I went to the doctors about it.
Yeah.
And it was nothing to do with the cancer. Okay. But she just said, do you shave? And I'm like, so what you probably need to do is moisturise.
Okay.
If you're not moisturising, because I never used to moisturise under my arms because I thought it would make them sweaty.
I don't do that.
No. You do, start.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, because of that, I started doing this and lifting my arm up. Okay. When you lift your arm up, my boobs are much bigger now, boobish, a bit. It spreads out the breast tissue. Yeah. And I was moisturising one time. I was like, geez, what the fuck is that? It was this size, but I can't lift my arm up. Right. And I went downstairs, I'll never forget it, I went downstairs and said to Darcy, my then partner, so I'm not going to show you where, but can you just see if you can feel something? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I can feel that. And I went to the doctor's the following day, and she's like, I think it's okay, but let's just get it checked. Yeah. Within 2 weeks, I was at the breast care clinic. Wow. And the first day I went along, they first of all did a mammogram. Wait upstairs, please. Another mammogram, different kind. Right. Wait upstairs, please. Then an ultrasound. Wait upstairs, please. Oh. And then another ultrasound where they did lots of biopsies, and I could see this thing. I'm like, what is that? Wow. Is that going to, and I remember looking at the women I'm far more attuned to sort of facial expressions of medics now. I didn't know at this point. I'm kind of like looking at her going, what's this? Terribly jolly, isn't it? And she said, I think this is probably going to have to be removed. Like now in hindsight, I'm kind of going, that's why she's not looking at me in the face, okay. Because she knows. They know. My God, they know. They see it. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so then we waited a week. And it was really weird, actually, because I think that was the time where things really, really changed for me, because even with the biopsies, it's quite an invasive procedure, actually, because they'd gone under my arm as well. Right. Oh, God. And I'm just going, I remember leaving that day, and I was with Darcy, and I just said to him, it's very thorough. Do you think they do that with everyone? Kind of going, that was a lot of, we were there hours, God. I was thinking I was just going to go for mammogram, and they're going to, a month later, I'll get a phone call saying, it's fine or not. I've been for a mammogram. Didn't really think that all this other stuff was going to happen. Anyway, a week later, go back, and Darcy, Liam, same person. Confusing, I know, but Darcy and Liam, so same person. Different names. Right. I do this with people, it's really annoying. I'll meet someone, their name's Dave, and before they finish, I want to call you you'll be Bob, or whatever, I don't know why that happened, it's clearly a thing, I don't know. Anyway, Liam, Darcy. Anyway, so Darcy, and I said to him, you wait here, if it's anything bad, I'll get them to come and get you. Right. So of course I go in, and they sort of shuffle me along this corridor, and they open the door into this place that's got a sofa and a table with tissues and fake flowers, and I'm like, get Darcy. Well, and they said, we're terribly sorry. Yeah. It is cancer. Yeah. Bosh. And then I was just going to get Darcy. And all I really remember then, and I never want to see it again, was seeing him walking in, and he was crying already. Oh God. You just knew. Well, I think really I probably knew it before they told me. But I immediately went into, it's okay because I'm just not going to die. So that was my reflex, was, that's all right, I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
So the awful thing was we had to wait another week to see if it had spread because they hadn't quite managed to get enough, whatever they needed to get from my lymph.
Right.
So, and that was going to be dependent, that would then sort of give us the treatment regime.
Yeah.
So we went back the following week and it was like, terribly sorry, it has spread and it's quite aggressive and so this is what's going to happen. It's basically surgery, chemo, radio. And those three things, just when they're said out loud, you're kind of, oh lovely, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, right, well, when do we do, anyway, so then you're kind of thrown into this world of appointments.
Yeah.
Scans, bone scans, all sorts of scans, blood tests, then surgery. And then when I had it was when I was being wheeled down for surgery and I looked at the woman who was sort of in the prep room or whatever and I just burst into tears because I think I'd been holding it.
Had you cried before that? Or
no.
Not really?
No. I remember it was really random because what happened the first time we came out, it's at Preston Park and we're walking down the hill back to the car in this weird state and I said to Darcy, I said, I need to go to a garden centre.
Random. How did you do?
Never been to a garden centre. Don't do gardens. I don't know why. Anyway, so we were like,
Generally,
drove out to a garden centre. Stood in this garden centre. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Just random.
Don't know about it. And I think what it was is I thought if I go home, it's going to make it real.
Right.
And we thought, oh my God, we've got Pippa coming in. Pippa was my stepdaughter at the time. And anyway, we actually positioned ourselves at Mange 2, which is a really lovely restaurant on Trafalgar Street.
I know it.
I thought, I can't start drinking.
Yeah.
Because if I start drinking now, I'm not going to stop.
Right.
Darcy, I think, had a really expensive, lovely one glass of Muscadet or something like a bit fancy like that. And because I hadn't told that many people, but I told a few people that this was going on.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Oh, I've had lunch, you'll be fine, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And so I was having to ring these people and actually say it's not fine.
No.
And it was more everybody else's. I remained strong because I'm just like, well, it's cancer. And the shock for people, because I was so fit and so healthy and so happy and had this really successful business. And it's like, what? And reasonably young.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really associate breast cancer so much with younger people. More so now, I think, because of awareness and, you know, a few people in the public eye, sadly, have had breast cancer and they're younger. And they've done brilliant work with sort of, you know, engaging younger people.
Yeah, absolutely.
With, you know, the wherewithal
making
to...
awareness and
I was reasonably young. And, yeah, I mean, that is really... something when you're kind of just ringing, oh, I've got cancer, oh, I've got cancer, oh, I've got cancer, and then going to tell my parents, oh, I've got cancer, and it's, fuck's sake, it's just like, that's, it's hard, but I never felt, I just kept on saying, don't worry, I'm not going to die, I'm just not going to die, but I mean, I don't think anyone can really fully prepare you when you're told surgery, chemo, radio, it's like, oh, well, yeah, okay, that's right. But the reality of that day to day, and once I'd had surgery, and I woke up and I had sort of drains coming out of my body, and kind of going, what? You know, okay, something
can't be prepared for that, surely.
No, because you're not ill. And then all of a sudden you are.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm lying in a hospital bed, having had not the best reaction to. I couldn't have morphine or any opiates. Oh, okay. I just became, I don't think I'm allergic to them, but I can't take them. I can't handle opiates. Right. Which is probably quite a good thing, to be fair.
They gave my dad opiates. He just broke his hip recently. He was literally delirious for days.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's a good thing. And I think I've probably just become an addict anyway or something. It's like, don't give me that shit.
Yeah, I need them all the time now.
Yeah, no, everything now. So it's probably quite a good thing that I can't tolerate them. But then I became I was like this ill person. Yeah. I remember sort of...
And obviously you've been really healthy before that.
Yeah, like so mega healthy.
Big shock. Yeah.
And yeah, so it was a really big shock. And I remember when I'd come out of hospital, the first day that I felt okay enough to go out, we went to one of our local pubs up the road and we were sitting I've literally got my drains in, and I put them like in a tote bag, in a
That's
in a
a
bag.
good idea, a little tote bag.
Yeah, and they're not just hanging out of my body.
It's like,
So, but I'm a bit
weird
fragile. Yeah, it's like, that's a bit much. And I
Yeah.
was sitting at the bar, and Darcy told me this joke, whacked my arm. I fell off the chair, laughing, and he was just beside himself. So there's all these lovely, like, little comedic things that happen as well. But it's tough.
Yeah.
And even at this stage, at surgery stage, it was only a very close circle of people I knew that I had cancer. And then after that, it's sort of, you have to kind of condense it a bit, otherwise we'll be here for about 10 weeks. And you'll be asleep, and I'll be like, oh, she's not listening. Oh, was that a bit too long? Oh, that's awkward. And then it was coming up for chemo, and I was, oh God.
How long after the surgery did you have the chemo then? Because there has to be kind of
5 weeks, 6 weeks, something
time,
like
doesn't
that.
there? I know a friend who had, not breast cancer, but she did have a period of time before she started her therapy.
You have to heal, because I had quite a few infections, and I just had a few infections, and you have to wait until you're healed sufficiently to be able to, you're as robust as you can be to take on the chemo. And because of the type of breast cancer I had, the only sort of successful treatment really to kill it is chemo, because there's other cancers that are hormone receptive, and there's all these other kind of hormone treatments that you can have. But mine is a thing called triple negative, which means it doesn't react to any of these things.
Oh shit.
So the chemo is kind of hardcore.
Right.
I mean, I only sort of found this out afterwards.
Right.
When they said, "Oh God, did you do all of your chemo?" I'm like, yeah. So, well, not many people do that. I'm like, oh, was there a choice?
Yeah. Because I'll have the easy choice, please.
I didn't know there were. You couldn't turn up. I was just like, oh, I'll turn up.
Yeah.
But I was terrified of losing my hair more than anything.
Yeah, this is the. Yeah.
It's a big thing. It's a really big thing, and the emotions that are combined with that of I felt guilty. Cause well, how can I be so shallow to be worried about my hair?
So and it made you feel guilt.
Well, I felt guilty that you should. I felt really vain, and I just thought, it's only hair. Don't be ridiculous. And felt bad for feeling bad about losing my hair.
Right. Okay.
Because you think, well, just be grateful because this thing is gonna hopefully
save your life.
Yeah. So actually losing your hair really is ridiculous,
Yeah.
But it really consumed me.
Yeah.
And then I did literally, I don't know if you remember in the TED Talk, I did actually this totally true story. I was just walking around the lanes.
Yeah.
And I walked into my hairdresser's and I shave off and just give me a buzz cut.
Yeah.
And
how much hair did you have at that
point?
Yeah.
A lot. I'll show you a video thing of it, of them shaving it off. And it was then that I had the thing of, actually to begin with I was going to do a different haircut every day, but then I thought, well, that's not going to last very long, is it? So I decided on putting on a different piece of headgear every day during my treatment.
So this was your idea, wasn't it? Because this is what fascinated me when I read your story, was that obviously you did the hair thing, literally like, just get it off, that was kind of like random, and then you're like, okay, kind of embraced it, really.
Well, I was just like, once I'd done that, it's like, well, it's gone, amazing, that was easy.
Yeah.
What can I do? And I thought, right, well, a different haircut. And Macmillan had been so amazing to me, and I really wanted to try and sort of take the focus away from myself and focus on something where I could give back. Or that sounds so cheesy, but do you know what I mean?
No.
I wanted to. I just thought, this is so shit.
Yeah.
Something good has got to come from it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it was. So the
it gives you something positive to focus on.
Well, and it gave me just sort of like, I didn't realise how difficult it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because there were some days where I just felt so ill. I just felt so bloody. I was just like, what have I done? And that was actually day one. Afterwards, it was just like, I felt so sick. Anyway, came up with the headgear idea.
Yeah.
And originally, I wanted to raise £500 for Macmillan. So I set up a Just Giving page.
Yeah.
And as I said, at this point, I had got a Facebook page, but I never used it. I never posted anything, and certainly not Instagram or Twitter. But I thought, right, well, let's just post this and see what happens.
So your idea was to
do a different piece of headgear every day throughout my chemotherapy.
Right. And post it on social media.
With, you know, just a silly sort of way to kind of go, look, raising money for Macmillan, I'm losing my hair, so I'm gonna put something stupid on my head every day.
Yeah.
And by the way, check your tits.
Yeah.
Because I have breast cancer.
Yeah.
You definitely get it. We definitely get it. So it's just a sort of silly, fun kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've only really just stopped doing it.
Really? Wow.
I think it was 4 years. I did
I was going to say, I thought it was for a year when I saw it initially. I thought that was the idea to do it for a year.
No, the idea initially was just to do it through my chemotherapy. And then it sort of picked up a bit, and then it caught on a little bit of, you know, media attention, and it's been amazing because first of all, I just connected with so many people who I haven't heard from in such a long time, who I used to work with years ago in London, and, you know, a massive sort of flux of people who I've just not been in touch with, just came through with so much love and so much like, wow, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that you're poorly, but oh, what a great idea. And so that kind of momentum with friends, and then from that, I don't even really know, but the media picked it up, and you know, so there was quite a bit of excitement and all the rest of it. And so I got to do some incredible things. I suppose it was really, really difficult, but it was such a good thing, and I'm so pleased I did it, because it gave me, I had to get up every day.
Give you a purpose. Yeah.
And even if I really, really didn't want to, a bit like what you were talking about earlier, it's just like, somehow show up. Yeah. And there's something about, for me, being accountable to other people.
Absolutely.
Is a great motivator.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think that's quite common.
Yeah.
But so I have various things in my life that if I say that I'm going to do something and I've made it public, it's like, I'm now accountable, I have to go and do it.
Yeah, and that was your thing.
And that was my thing. But that is then carried on into so many other parts of my life. And I'd already got a place on the Brighton half before I got poorly. And I walked it quite quickly. Yeah. When I was still in the middle of chemo. Yeah. And then as the fundraising came up, I can't remember, I do not remember, but who or where or how this happened, but someone at Macmillan said to me, do you want a place on London Marathon?
Wow.
And I just said, okay.
Were you sort of still mid-treatment at this point, or?
I don't know where I was, probably. The thing was, once the treatment had stopped, I was so ill. Yeah. I had bacterial meningitis, I had sepsis, I nearly lost this arm twice. Wow. I nearly died. One night when I was in hospital, they told Darcy to prepare for the worst because they didn't think I was going to make it through the night. I had some quite serious health complications for a long time after my treatment had stopped. Yeah. Because I was so like beaten down by the immune system. Yeah. My immune system was really, really compromised. So I wasn't long out of being reasonably well when I was offered the place. And I'd never have done that before. And it's tough. It is really tough. But there's a great sort of way that I sort of approach life that I think that I've learned from marathon training. Oh shit! Sorry,
that's all right.
Kick the tray, and that is that it's difficult. And if you know that it's difficult, then your expectation is sort of lowered in terms of, well, I know it's difficult. Yeah. I know it's painful. I know all of these things. Rather than getting disappointed because you've gone out and had a really shit run, or you've gone out and it's been really difficult and it's really painful, and then you come back and you're frustrated. It's like, well, of course it is, because that's life and that's what it is. Absolutely. And there's something about that, the marathon distance, that for me took me to places that I thought I'd never be able to go, and the sheer bloody determination to get myself on a train really early in the morning to get out to Littlehampton to do a long run, to run back 18 miles. Wow. And just do it. Yeah. And just do it. That's what you've got to do. Yeah. So just do it. And Nike were on something there, weren't they? With the just do it.
Oh, God, yeah.
I wish I'd thought of that.
There is only do. I read a little story about Nike the other day, and the Just Do It.
Oh my God, that was so brilliant.
How they came up with that.
Anyway, let's not go to that.
Yeah,
but, Nike. No, we're not promoting them.
No.
Unless they're going to give me free trainers with like carbon level things in them. Like I want 3 layers. And for me, it's just ended up being such a kind of way of life. And when things are really, really, really tough, and for me they have been really, really tough, and for a lot of us it's really tough. It's marathon training, and sometimes I'll go on an 18-mile run, and some of that run I'll be flying, and then in a second I'll be like, oh God, I can't do this.
Wow.
And then come back out and go, oh yes I can, and then oh my goodness. So it's this sort of roller coaster, and you realise the more pain one experiences, be it physical, mental, emotional, and the more we recover from those things, it's really understanding properly that the impermanence of any emotion is so...
Yeah, I did. Let's talk about that this morning
really,
on Facebook
really,
Live.
I think that's so important to remember.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's the happy times as well, you know. It's all of these things.
It's temporary.
Yeah, and
everything comes to pass. It just is passing through. That's just how it is.
That's how much I feel about it. That's on my look at that.
Look at that.
That's my veins.
Camera. Wow, it will pass.
It will pass.
Yeah.
And this is on my funny arm with all those funny veins. Look at that. That's from the chemo.
That looks cool though.
It does, doesn't it? It's hardcore.
I think it's cool.
I know, I love it.
It's cool.
So I think that it's how I live my life now, and I think I'm very honest about how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Without necessarily going into detail. I don't need to on social media tell everyone that I'm having a shit day because of A, B, C, D or E.
Yeah. But
I'm not ashamed to talk about any aspect of any part of the consequences of having cancer, like I was forced through the menopause. I had very regular periods, and literally after my first round of chemo, I've never had a period again. Yeah, and so it ruined my sex drive. Completely. And
menopause is fucking shit enough as it is, without
really,
just literally on top of everything you were going through, and then
silver lining in a way, because it did just put pay to it.
Well, I had a hysterectomy, and I was like,
oh, you were done.
Winner. I was happy.
Cooked it overnight. I mean, it's like you're done, aren't you?
It's like thank you, but it was a shit 10 months afterwards. Yeah. But I was happy to have it done. Yeah. But for you, I guess, and I've had a friend who's sadly going through cancer, and she had to have a hysterectomy, and so on top of dealing with cancer treatment, and she had operations and the same kind of thing, then you're going through menopause, and it's like, what the fucking hell do we deal with first?
The menopause is kind of it's so sort of like irrelevant. Because what happens is you're in the world of oncology when you're having your cancer treatment. So oncology is about killing cancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It isn't about dealing with symptoms of the menopause. It isn't dealing with the emotional impact of what that does to your libido and your subsequent relationship with your partner. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't deal with the fact that, the walls of your vagina are now like tissue paper and it actually is agony to have sex. It doesn't deal with the fact that, oh God, every orifice is dry and sore and, and all of those things. And they're minor details when you're in the middle of oncology. But when you come out the other side, you kind of go, oh, here's my dry vagina.
This is what I'm left with. Thank you.
Dry vagina. Big, chunky, dry vagina. I mean, it's just kind of like, I'm very happy to speak about all these things, and I think it's important
because the emotional impact, the physical impact of, I haven't had cancer, touch wood that I don't. I know people that have got, cancer. My dad has cancer, and sadly my friend, and I know the emotional impact and the physical impact, and maybe some of that's not spoken about enough. I'm not brave enough to do a podcast with her because she's still going through it. But I know the emotional impact and the impact on her relationship is huge. And I think maybe some of that isn't quite widely spoken about so much.
Well, because it's not the priority, and also there's a glamorization which I really hate around cancer. I always say that cancer was the diva that came in.
Yeah, I've read that on your stuff.
I'm going to come and take over.
I'm taking over.
I'm like the most important thing in the world. But you know what? When you have cancer, you still have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
You still have to go to the supermarket. You still have to go shopping. You still have to you still have to live.
Yeah.
And you've got cancer. And it's not even necessarily unless you've got very advanced stage cancer. But if like me, it wasn't advanced. It was aggressive, but it hadn't taken over. It hadn't metastasized, so it was it was local enough that it was just here.
Yeah.
So it was curable. But I mean, it's just like it is all consuming. But you still have to live your life.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's very difficult to live your life when you're going through all the treatments and everything else, and your body is changing, and you know, a lot of relationships do not survive cancer.
I can believe it.
It's such a. I've witnessed a lot of people go through it, and I am so grateful to my partner, even though we didn't make it. And I was only able to be that grateful after we'd split up and after I'd witnessed it with other people that I knew, and kind of me being the person that is helping out, caring or looking after someone, seeing the devastation that causes, and how knackering it is and how exhausting it is to be somebody who you love, watching them being ill.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand that, because I think at some level I was really quite selfish during the treatment, because it's all about me. You know, it's all about me. I'm the one with the cancer. It's not that I'm necessarily thinking like that, but that's kind of how it is, because you are the centre of attention.
And I think that ripple effect and the impact it has, and I said I've seen this with my friend, is the impact on everybody else.
Yeah, it's huge.
And then managing, and I think she's felt like she's had to try and manage their emotions at times, and their understanding and their ability to cope. And then I think she just got exhausted by it. She's like, look, I have cancer. I can't help you deal with this anymore. I just need to focus on me and doing the best I can to get through this and to get well again. Because I think a lot of her energy went into coping with her parents and her sister and, you know, partner, and how they were, because they weren't coping. And I think there's that ripple effect. There's, you know, unless you're in that world, you don't really get it.
No, and there's really, really, really small things as well. Like, I mean, even things like your nasal hair falls out, so you'd just be walking and you're prone to nosebleeds and stuff like that. So you're just walking along, and all of a sudden, load of blood blood comes out, you know, and you've got no little nasal hair to stop it.
There's no filter there, is
no
there?
filter,
Yeah.
literally, and a nose of snot will just fall out, you know. It's like, oh, that's nice, having a conversation with someone in the street. Oh, sorry about that.
God.
So it's like little things like that. She's like, oh God, oh shit, bear with. Hold on, lovely, bye. And they are quite fun. I mean, they're sort of quite funny. But I think it's collectively all of these things, and it is things like, you know, for me, I was self-employed, income gone, didn't have any insurance.
I want to talk to you about that, because
really
obviously, you know, part of the podcast
really
is about speaking to business people and entrepreneurs and dealing with managing.
I'm not sure I'm your person for that.
Yeah, but you have a business. No, but I, you know, because I with my coaching, I sort of coach some small business owners, but I'm much of the belief of, you know, personal development equals business development and life development and quality of life.
I think where I've become more successful in life is living authentically. I have zero material wealth now. But I think I'm living a far more authentic life.
Was that different before the cancer? Was that because you were successful in your business?
Yeah.
You were a builder and a renovator of property.
Yeah.
So you were quite successful, yeah.
Yeah, we were successful. We were doing really well. It was my partner's business when I first met him.
Yeah.
But he was sort of like a bit of a little sole trader, very talented at what he did and all the rest of it. And then I was actually doing venue dressing for weddings and parties and stuff like that. So he'd help me at weekends and I'd help him during the week. And actually, as it turned out, I was much better at being a filthy builder than I was being a party decorator for weddings. I love a power tool.
Me too.
Love a power
Me
tool.
too, yeah.
Oh my God, Brighton Tools and Fixings. There's an ad right there. I love that place. Oh my God, I'd take that over any handbag shop ever. I
Brilliant.
love. Oh my God, I love a power tool.
I do too.
So I sort of jumped on board, and we were doing really, really well actually, and we loved it, and we worked together and lived together, and
that was all good.
Really lovely. And we used to go and have our dirty pint at the Great East, and afterwards sit about, you know,
Couple of dirty builders.
and then home, change, and then I'd go for a run. Do you know what I mean? And then like, actually, did I actually go for a? No, I wouldn't drink beer and then go for a run, but would I? No, I doubt. Well, I might have done. I don't think so. But you know what I mean. So we had a lovely little house in the lanes. We had a lovely sort of little cottage there with bush kebab and Pippa, and yeah, it was good. Like it was really, really good. And then I found that lump.
Everything changed.
Yeah. I mean, it was gradual, but yeah.
But has that impacted you? Obviously, you know, in terms of work and what you do, that's had a massive impact. I know that. I've read that. But in terms of you say you live more authentically now. How has that changed? How do you mean? Does that mean? Were you materialistic before and you're not now? Do you think you weren't living to?
No, I think what it is I'm more courageous.
Right. Okay.
Now.
Yeah. And
I'm more courageous to really stand up for the things that I feel very strongly about.
Okay.
Irrespective of, I mean, sometimes I'll say things that they're coming out of my mouth and I'm like, oh God, what's the consequence of this going to be?
Yeah.
I'm talking about a dry vagina.
Yeah.
Or you know. But I just think, and especially in recent months, I've been going through some quite severe symptoms that had my oncologist concerned that I had the cancer gone to my brain.
Oh gosh.
So I've literally spent the last 3 months now. So I'm all clear of cancer at the moment. But I've been really scared and really kind of going, this is it. Because the pain has been so extraordinary, and I've been very ill, being sick a lot, and sort of like just battling it through with anti-nausea and pills and just like throwing meds at it, but thinking it's just cancer. This sounds so ridiculous. You're not ill, it's just cancer, so you can crack on. Yeah. And I did my ultra. I did 31 miles on the 31st. Of December with my ultra marathon mate, and I look back now and think, oh, no wonder. Anyway, but I really, in these last few months, really looked at my own mortality very, very closely. Sure. Because there's certainly been times where I really, really thought, this is it. Right. And it was so funny because the things that I wanted to do and that I talked to friends about was I wanted to get my nails done. I've never had my nails done. No, really? Yes. Well, when you're in the building game, there's no point, is there? Really? It's like, I wanted to go get my nails done. Yeah. New bed linen and just drink really lovely wine and fizz and really lovely sushi and gorgeous food, and just be surrounded by people that I love. Yeah. I wanted to go and see loads of dance and go into so sort of living this fancy life in my head. Yeah. I don't know whether I don't know how I was going to finance this, but the authenticity around it, I suppose, is that I almost now look at my life and I can look in on it from the outside. Yeah. And I'm almost looking in at a sitcom. So if something is really, really stressy and everyone's kind of being a bit... I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is a sitcom, I'm going to write this down. I never do write it down, but I look at scenarios and if I feel like I'm being bullied or something like that, I will stand up to them. Yeah, whereas before you don't think you would have... No, and because I just wouldn't have had the courage. Wow. Or wouldn't have felt that I'd be scared. Yeah. So I think what cancer has given me is courage. It's given me the courage to believe that if I can run a marathon. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I can run an ultra marathon. Oh, I can. Oh, well, I'll just go and do this then. I'll go and do that then. And I think what that's given me is the courage in my world to be really as authentic as I possibly can be. And that is about speaking honestly about depression, anxiety, death. Speaking about death really upsets people. Yeah, it does. And I'm very passionate about talking about death, and work in the funeral industry 2 days a week now, which is an absolute my dream come true. Wow. I mean, and it's just such. I think you've got to be a certain kind of person to take that. And it's a really amazing company that I work with, and it's all we do actually have one man there now, but it's all women, and we're strong, really strong, independent women, and we're all different, but we all bring really good, brilliant characteristics in, and look after our community really beautifully at a time when it's the toughest time. So it's an incredibly authentic time, and you're sitting and you're in the space of people who have just experienced the death of somebody that they love very much, or maybe they didn't love them very much. But it's whatever it is, it's a really tough situation, and to witness that is such a privilege, you know, because it's very life affirming, and so
I can imagine,
and it's interesting, and I feel very passionate about talking about death, and a lot of people kind of get a bit like, oh, don't talk about it, you're not going to die. And like, well, I definitely am actually, and so are you. We all are, and we don't know when it's going to happen.
I think because a lot of us live through, like, and I say this and I talk about this, you know, a lot of us, and maybe this was you before, not necessarily, it's a bit patronizing, but it's like tiptoe our way through life. And a lot of people don't have the courage to do what it is that they really want to do, or pursue the things that they really want to do. They're tiptoeing their way through life to get to the other end, which is death. So why are you tiptoeing your way through life when no one's getting out alive? This is inevitable anyway. It doesn't make sense, and it's becoming clearer to me as I get older and as the days goes by that that's just a fucking pointless way to live, because pain, challenge, struggle will find everybody, even if you try and freaking hide from it day in, day out. You know, so why are you tiptoeing and trying to hide your way through life, you know, and I want an easy life, I don't want any struggle, I don't want any pain. None of us wants any struggle or any pain, but it will find us no matter what. So you just as well go out there and be you and do you in the best possible way that you can, and have the courage to go out there and live your life authentically as you want it.
And I think that is, I think you've encapsulated that better than I could have just done, because I think it is that. I think what it is it wasn't that I was fake before. It wasn't that I didn't have, you know, I was optimistic in some ways and I was pessimistic in other ways, and you know.